Hey, welcome back to Two Super Guys Trade Stocks. I'm Dylan.
Buddy.
And with the recent Nvidia earnings, we have to determine if unprecedented multiples of stocks are actually a thing that is here to stay. This is the new norm, and AI is not a fad, or is AI a fad just like anything else, and it's going to kind of tank just like EVs. So we're going to talk about it. Two Stupid Guys Trade Stocks. All right. Oh, hold on. And there we go. Sorry. So I texted Vinny. I said, I can't believe, now granted it didn't matter because they sank the whole day, but I had bought like 5 shares in Nvidia for like 380 because I was so pissed I had sold them at 140. And then I sold them again the day before earnings at like 470 because I'm like, they can't go higher. Like they just can't. It's just impossible, right? And then of course they just blow through the roof. And I sent that, and he said, I'll maintain my fad stance on AI until I find myself homeless, toothless, and working in a brothel for robots. And I feel like that's a pretty solid quote.
Yeah, that's T-shirt worthy, I think,
It's
right there.
t-shirt
But
worthy. I agree. So here's what I'm not saying. We're not claiming AI itself is a fad. Obviously, no one's gonna stop using AI. It's slowly gonna be more and more implemented. That's not the claim. The claim is kind of like EV stocks, how all you have to do is just say the word, I'm an EV company, your stock price shoots up, and then it eventually dies, just like there's a lot of AI stocks. Now, the difference here is the predominant AI stocks are huge companies already. It's not Workhorse or Lucid or any of that shit, right? They're legit
yeah,
companies. So the question is, are AI companies or this thing a fad in the fact that the stock should regulate itself back to a normal PE, or is this how it is for now on? Are these stocks permanently, is Nvidia going to be a $1 trillion company forever? That kind of stuff. Make sense?
yeah. This reminds me a lot of Cisco systems, right? The switches that power the internet. The internet did indeed change the world and became ubiquitous everywhere in every parts of our life. But they've never retaken their 2000 high.
Nope.
And
Just
I
like
could see
Intel.
something like that happening for Nvidia too, where yes, AI takes over the world and becomes like a ubiquitous thing, but their valuation here may be decades ahead of itself. So I don't know.
Exactly.
Let's see what the
So
charts.
I'm not shitting on AI, just to be, if that's going to be a comment. I'm not, it's going to stay here. Do I think ChatGPT is not great? Yeah. Every time I use it, it just says, I can't give you that data. Maybe I'm using it wrong. I don't know.
Yes, definitely using it wrong.
But just as an example, here's Lucid, right? EV company. It sucks. Full disclosure, all these graphs look the same. Workhorse, same thing. They're down below $1. You have a giant thing. This is the fad, and then boom. Nikola, same thing. This is the fad. They're going to be bankrupt here very soon. And then you have Tesla. This was a stock that was part of the EV fad. That yes, they have not gained their initial price, but they have not tanked either. They are. Looks, as much as I disagree with it, and I know, it looks to be staying firm around a ridiculously high multiple forever.
Hey, yeah, man.
Is what it is.
Yeah, kudos. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, me and Vinny are both. I would love to short it, but it's just terrifying.
Yeah.
Nvidia. This
Yeah.
is not an earnings video, but just to show you these numbers. This quarter, record revenue 13.5 billion, up 88% from the last quarter, 100% a year ago. Data center up 141% in a quarter, 170% a year ago. That's disgusting.
The growth rates are disgusting, but for scale, just an idea. The one I know off the top of my head is Meta does about $30 billion a quarter in revenue. So Meta's revenue is still double what Nvidia is.
True.
You know,
True.
Apple, you're talking about $100 billion almost a quarter.
Absolutely. Well, I think Apple's 2 trillion, right? I can't remember.
No, of market cap, but I'm talking about revenue.
Right.
So 13.5 billion in revenue for a $1 trillion company
For
is like a
now.
joke.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I agree. I can't short it though. It's terrifying.
agreed.
Their GAAP earnings per diluted share per quarter up 854% a year ago. Like that's pretty gross, right?
That's
Here's their PE ratio. You can see that their stock price is just on a straight trajectory, and their PE is actually, ooh, I almost said the word normalizing. It's still 100.
Kind of.
It's kind of. It's didn't go up. Let's go with that. They're chilling around over 100. And then last thing I'll show you, the gross profit up 226% year over year.
Sexy.
Very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't
Here's
deny
their
it.
weekly chart, right? So they were 160 going up to 500 for a second. And then you can see this was almost, I think this was more taking, this is profit taking, if I had to
Profit taking.
guess. Same with AMD. They gapped up and it just sold the whole day. Now, here's where this becomes a problem. Okay, so here's the top 10 companies of the Qs. All right.
Okay.
Now, 48% are held by the top 10 companies. If you take away Pepsi, Tesla, Broadcom, you're at about 40%. Are essentially 6 companies that are all AI companies. So we have to decide if this AI fad, if it is a fad, was going to correct itself, there is going to be a massive downtrend on the Qs. Like Burry will be just creaming in his pants with how much shorts he has. Like it's going to be wild. If this is not something, and these multiples, no matter how illogical they are, I'm not arguing that they're logical, but we set the price. Nvidia will not go down if hedge funds and us just keep on buying Nvidia constantly. We are the ones that set the price. And I know what you're saying, eventually it might be too high, but Vinny, do you know what I sent you yesterday with the teachers union?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. About
Yeah.
how much of the Caltrans retirement account is in like these EV companies and things like that.
Yeah. If people are crazy enough to continue to buy at this multiple, you're going to think, well, eventually it's going to stop. The second largest pension fund in like the U.S., like the teachers union, just doubled down on Nikola and Lucid. So you don't
Yeah.
have to be a genius here.
That's great.
Yeah, it's terrifying. That's a gross amount of money they put in. But basically, we're trying to see. I want your guys' feedback if you guys can comment on if we will achieve a multiple that's relatively okay, or if it'll be like Tesla, where their stock kind of levels off and their fundamentals actually slowly improve. I'm not saying justified, but improve. Make sense?
Yeah. Can you go to my screen real quick? I want to show you something. I have the Cisco Systems all-time chart pulled up here.
No,
So
nice.
although this number is ridiculous, right? But dot-com bubble, Cisco Systems peaked at like $80 a share, right? And they trade at 55 today, 23 years later, right? With a PE of 18. So like, it's a good PE for something that's like a consumer staple, almost a little bit, or staple of modern life, switches and things like that. The point here being that they just got way ahead of themselves, and it's taken decades of growth to even come back to the close to the price that they sold for at one point in time. How disgusting is that?
And remember, yeah, that's a good point. And remember, the introduction of computers and the internet and easy accessibility was world changing, just like AI could be. It's not like everyone thinks that this time is different. Like this time, EVs are different. This is world changing. I'm not saying it's not, but the stock does not have to be world changing. So we're trying to see, is there a little bit of a correction coming? Or is this kind of how it's going to be from now on? We really appreciate your comments, guys.
Yeah. All right. Catch you the next one.
Later.